In the UK, subcultures have always been a big deal. From mods to casuals and from punks to skinheads, the UK has always had a strong alternative movement on the go. But in the modern age, which of them are still going strong? I'm going to go and talk to some of the people still taking part in these cultures today, and see what's changed in the fashion, the message, and the music. One of the genres of music that always seems to pop its head up in the UK is indie. Huge groups of indie kids are all over the place these days, hanging around Urban Outfitters and vintage stores chatting about the latest dirty hit artist or the time they found a Burberry coat in a charity shop. The fashion is a mix of everything that was bearable in almost every time period for the last 40 years. Faux fur coats, loose joggers, fishnets, faded band tops and all kinds of different regalia. In Nottingham, if you're looking for indie kids, then there's one place to go, and that's Hockley. The place is coated with a thick layer of vintage clothing shops, gig venues and weird hipster restaurants. I'm meeting up with a gig photographer called Lily, who's going to talk to me about Hockley and Nottingham and what alternative people do around here and how she ended up being involved in alternative culture. So what do you think influences alternative fashion at the minute?
Music and social media. So basically like Insta famous girls who dress a certain way, people will dress like them, and whatever music you listen to, you'll dress like whoever makes that music.
So you think music still has the influence on alternative fashion that it always has had?
Yeah, if you look at someone, you can instantly kind of tell what kind of music they listen to. Like, if they're wearing all black and they have like safety pins in their face or something, they're a punk. Like, you know that.
So if you're in Nottingham and you're alternative and you're trying to find some indie music or something to listen to on a night out, where would you go? Where is the tip?
Bodega, Rough Trade, they're both in Hockley. There's lots of little places that do things like in Cobden Chambers, rescue rooms, Rock City, Cherry Lounge, places like that.
So with things like Urban Outfitters being around now, do you think that the culture behind indie music is becoming diluted or?
Yes, definitely, because it's become it's not become mainstream to be edgy, it's just become a bit more normal. Things aren't separated into subcultures anymore. It's just, do you shop at Urban Outfitters or not? And
yeah. Indie music to me kind of feels like it's not really going anywhere at the minute. Do you agree with that? Do you think anyone's innovating or doing anything new?
No, I agree with that. I think any music that indie people listen to nowadays, it's all pre-2000s music anyway. It's like 70s, 80s, 60s, whatever. But any kind of indie music that's produced today seems a bit manufactured to me and a bit fake.
So records like Dirty Hit, you think are sort of contributing to this?
Yeah, definitely. There are still bands that are pretty indie, but they tend to be smaller bands like the Shrives, who still make and produce all of their own stuff and everything. And then some bigger bands like Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes, who, even though their music is mass-produced, kind of, like, it's just the way that he talks and acts is what indie music is supposed to be about. It's never dark on the road. Blue lights to guide you. So many miles between you and me. No way of knowing which. What
is it about alternative fashion that makes you be alternative and makes you interested in the culture of it?
I don't think I ever had a conscious thought one day of, I want to be alternative or edgy or whatever. I just kind of, the people that I've always been around have always been a bit different, and the way that I was brought up to kind of just wear whatever I wanted and act however I wanted might not be the best upbringing, but doesn't matter. And my parents being punks in the 70s and 80s and being hippies now, they just kind of raised me to be a bit different, I guess. If you can call being indie different anymore.
Do you think it's important for there to be subcultures and countercultures to the norm?
Yeah, definitely, because if you don't fit into the norm, if there weren't subcultures, you'd be completely lost, because everyone's different. It's like some subcultures are just a form of rebellion, others are like a form of self-expression. It's just Also, it's nice to have a more diverse population, because if everyone was the same, it would be boring.
Indie really became a subculture in the 80s initially. Under the iron fist of Thatcher, working class art was at its peak. While punk and ska were one extreme, and pop acts being the other, indie existed in this little niche in between extremes. Bands like The Cramps, The Vaseline, Spaceman 3, and Jesus and Mary Chain had risen up, and a look was being pioneered in the indie genre. The almost hero worship of 60s musicians by these bands led to people wearing charity shop leather jackets, muted colours, and dress trousers, things that were still being worn today. Fashion has continued to evolve since then, with every generation of indie music, the generation after dressing in things from the mainstream of that time, culminating in the modern day indie kid in 90s sportswear like Fila, Kappa, and old school Adidas. With the position that indie is in right now, it seems like it can only get better and more creative in its style and music. It's a scene that's so iconic to UK music and culture, and now we can only hope that it continues to grow as time goes on.